Welcome back to Lily's Crafty Corner. Today I've got actually a couple of things. I'm going to show you a swap that I'm sending out, and I will also show you something that I have been playing with for the past few days, and I don't want to get have somebody see this and say, oh, she stole that from me or whatever, my idea. What I did was I've been watching, what's her name? Gail Agostinelli and Roxy Creations. And I'm going to tell you ladies that they're two great people to watch, especially if you want to do things a little different. I'm really into junk journals and vintage and that kind of thing. So if you like that, and I mean, some of my favorites that I like to watch, I don't want to mention them by name right now because I'm not watching them as much because they kind of do the same thing. These ladies do the same thing, but different sometimes. They will venture out and come up with some new things. Or once I feel that they're constantly doing the same thing, I'll move on to somebody else. Because my object of doing these things is to learn, to kind of spark my creativity and do things a little different. So before I show you my swap, I'm going to talk to you about what one of the things I've actually packaged this here. I'm using as packaging for my swap. And what it is one of these little envelope clutches things that we make sometimes. And I'm just going to let you know that these are made with napkins. And I use a glue stick. I don't use a real, you don't want anything too wet unless you want that real crinkly look. But the napkin, as you can see, I used this here and I used this one in the front. And then this little piece here, which I forgot to bring, I actually found wrapping paper in one of the little villages. I don't know if you ever heard of Cold Spring, New York. It's along the Hudson. It's in Putnam County. And Bosco Bell is there. It's actually on the other side of the Hudson is West Point. So it's a real neat area. But anyway, there's this shop there that's an English lady runs. Actually, she's not English. She's Welsh. She corrected me. And I do buy a lot from her. But she had this wrapping paper and it's in sheets. And it's a little pricey. However, I like to buy it. And when I do, I use just pieces of it. And then I cut some that are 8.5 by 11. And I put them in my, and I keep them. And I use them for something like this. And when I cut them for 8.5 by 11, I put that 8.5 by 11 on the copy part of my printer. And then I hit copy, and then I hit print, and this is what I get. And so I always keep a piece of thing. I do that a lot with things that I pick up so that I can reuse them and use the original, but still have the ability for something like this to do it. Because as you can see, I don't know if you can see it through here on my phone, but it's a, the map is coming through here where the napkin was. And what I wanted to show you, what I'm using for the base, we get those catalogs sometimes that they send us and things. This is what I use for the base. I usually double them or take one page and fold it in half or put 2 pages together. And the 2 pages together was this one. And this is something I'm doing smaller, but as you can see, I'm not done with it. I mean, you might think it's finished, but I do have some more things I want to throw on there as a collage. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you. And I did get this from Roxy's Creations. She does this, and I love this lady. You've got to watch her. She's so interesting, and her life is so interesting. And how she, I think actually is Australian, and she lives in Italy, and she married an Italian. She's a very interesting lady. So I think you'll enjoy her. But now to get back to the swap. So we had to make 10 tags, and we didn't have to, and they wanted them different sizes, and we didn't have to decorate them. So I wanted mine to be a little interesting. So this is one that I cut out, that I have the templates. I did do the download. I love Genevieve Creations. Like I said, Genevieve Designs, Gen of Eve Designs. And I love her stuff. It is a lot of it's more vintagey. You can really make it steampunkish if you want. It's really cool stuff. And this was one of her printables. So I used for the tag. This is also one of her printables. And I love the shape of the tag, and this is the shape that you get from her. And then this is one I kind of did on my own, and it's actually authentic paper. It's the Hawaiian or tropical one, and I didn't decorate it, just did it. And this is another one that's authentic, and I believe this was the spring one. This is another one of Genevieve's printables, and it's in the it's a print, but it's an oval shaped. And what I wanted to show too is that these little ribbons here that I have on here, she has this, I think it's called Snug a Hug or something like that. It's seam binding, but it's on a big roll. I got it on Amazon, and it was through Genevieve that I got the thing. If you watch her, I believe she has a link to it in her thing, and so you can buy it through her link, and she'll get credit for it. But it's and she's well worth watching. Anyway, I tea-dyed these. I do them all different colors. I'll show you another one that I've done, but this is here. This is another one of her printables that I added lace. And what I did was I sewed a couple of these together. This is one I made. I actually made two of these. I'll take it out. You know, you go to AC Moore and they have the watercolors there for like $5. It's quite a large thing, maybe 10 or 20 watercolors in it. I've been using it for over a year, and I had some watercolor paper, so I made my own watercolor, and I spritzed it a little bit with some Tim Holtz oxide sprays, so that was really cool. And this is one too. I think I don't know if I showed this or not in one of my hauls from going down to Cold Spring. Anyway, it was a song thing, and I did the same thing. I printed it. It was like, 2 pages, like in the 40s, if you got, or even now I guess you can buy the music sheets, like if you play the piano or whatever. So anywho, I did take and I sewed it on, and this is actually, here is something that I bought at an auction. I bought a lot of, it was in a box, linens. And I think I paid like $10 for it or something. Anyway, I washed them all up, and every once in a while I'll put it in the top of the copy part of my printer, and I'll hit the copy, and then I hit print, and this is what comes out, and I think it's so cool. And I did the same thing with the front of that music sheet, and I put it on there. And then this is a napkin. The rose part here is a napkin. So these can be decorated. And here you can see it a little bit better here. And this is a postcard that I bought. And when I buy postcards, vintage postcards, I don't want to pay more than $1. And I really don't care too much what's on the side of the photo. All I'm really looking for is the fact that they wrote on them, because I like to use that. And as you can, actually this one, if you could feel it, you could feel the paper where I tore it and then inked it up with Tim Holtz's photo. Vintage photo. Now this is one that I call my Franken paper, and I love making these. In fact, I had made a bunch of these, so I decided to what do you call it? Put one together for this, and it's washi tape. It's different papers that I had in my scraps, and I thought it really looked cool. And I inked with the photo vintage. I inked the hole reinforcements, and this is a peach one of those. I cut off, several feet or a yard or two, and then because I think you get like 16 yards, so I usually do a few feet of it, and then ink them. And these I used with one of the ink, what do you call it, re-inkers, and just poured it in some hot water with a little bit of this, and it really takes it up nice. And so I like that. This is one that I actually ended up decorating a little bit, but she certainly has more room to decorate. I had did the Franken paper thing again, and decided to put on a few buttons and some lace. They weren't sewn, but they were put on. And this is another one I did. And as you can see, I used some twine. So this was a lot of fun. I wanted to, and then they all fit. What I like to do is you can measure them out, figure out what you need, and you can put and what a nice way to present your swap. I just love it. So that was my thing there. And I will apologize for the mess my hands are in. I do go to and get them done. However, it seems like whenever I decide to start some sort of different projects, not necessarily paper, but some other things that I do with furniture refinishing or cleaning up or gardening, I mess up my hands. So I still have some gardening things I'm playing with. So I'm not going to get my boo-boos fixed until after I'm finished with all that. Now, this is something that I decided to put together as a little extra for my swap partner. And what it is, and this is, in fact, I showed this, I believe, in my last haul. I had gone to the big giant yard sale at Stormville Flea Market, where sometimes they film flea market flip. And in that big box of stuff that I got, there's several of these. You know, they're different. Somebody was a quilter, and that's what a lot of those scraps are from. So I decided, hey, I washed them up and I ironed it, and I thought, you know, it'll make a nice little presentation. And I'm giving her some teas. I have Twinings, black tea, black currant breeze. Giving her 2 of those, which I love. These are my favorites. This is so yummy. It's Taylor. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I got it also in Cold Spring at that little British shop, but she's really Welsh, so maybe it's really a Welsh shop. But anyway, it's lemon ginger, and it is so good, and it is caffeine free. And then another English breakfast tea, but this one is honey and vanilla. And I've had them all, and they're all good. Otherwise, I would not, at least to my taste, they're so delicious. They may not be to somebody else's. And the thing is, this is going to Sabrina. This is a swap I'm doing for pocket letters and embellishments. And, you know, if she doesn't like tea, you know, she can actually pass these along to somebody else that maybe does like tea. I don't know whether she likes tea or not. But I get these a lot too, but these are, like I said, are ones that I purchase locally. And I love them. So anyway, and this is another nice little way to wrap up your extra little thing that you may want to pass along to your swap partner. And one of the things is, I mean, you don't have to do these things, but I just think it's kind of fun and it's nice. And honestly, at my age, everything is about having fun. We kind of laugh about it, my husband and my kids and my grandkids. But I guess I always like to play, who was it, Cyndi Lauper, Girls, or is it Girls That Just Want to Have Fun? I think it was Cyndi Lauper. Anyway, I love playing that a lot of times because I keep telling them, but I change it to Grandma Wants to Have Fun. So it is true. Unfortunately, in our life, we've been having a lot of sadness, losing friends and so forth. And so anyway, and different people with health issues. And so my husband and I decided we are so fortunate and blessed to be relatively healthy. And so that's why I'm coming up with this Grandma Wants to Have Fun. Now, I have my little score tape here because I always have a hard time keeping everything pretty much in camera, and I think I might have been a little low in a couple of things here because I really wasn't paying attention. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit like, give me a nice thumbs up, you know, nice thumbs up, even with my nasty looking fingers here. And subscribe. I would love to have more subscribers. I'm trying to do more videos. I'm going to try and make a commitment and make at least 2 videos a week. of different things, and maybe share, and maybe even share some people who do some great things on other channels that you might like to want to see. I have one lady that I'm thinking about, I'm going to share with you because I'm learning quite a bit from her. Not necessarily paper stuff, but a lot of cool stuff. So anyway, have a great day. We've got a sunshine today. It's Saturday. It's June 22nd. I've got sunshine. I'm going to the post office. I'm mailing this. It's my packaging. My packaging is all ready. All I have to do is put this in it. And I've already made up my card, so we're good to go. Anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Bye.